Hi again, Attorney Steve Vaughn in the business and litigation attorney. We are talking in this video about that cease and desist letter, that nasty thing we call the love letter affectionately, because it doesn't look like somebody really loves you when they're sending you something that says like this, pay $150,000. Okay, that's your typical damages for a copyright infringement. That's a maximum somebody can seek per infringed work. But you may have been simply downloading a video on a website like Bittorrent, and you may have received one of these letters and go, what the heck do I do with this? Do I respond to this? Do I just what do I do with this? So this video is going to try to help you make sense out of whether or not to respond, and to give you some general things that we look at in making that determination whether you're going to respond or how you're going to respond. So without further ado, let's head to the Attorney Steve litigation whiteboard. Okay, let's back that up here. Let's get back here. Let me get my pen. So we are talking about some of the factors to consider. Now you have to make a decision. Either you crumple up the letter and you throw it away, or stick it in your shredder and go, I'm not dealing with this. I have no money. I'm a college student. I don't care. Or I'm 14 years old. I mean, who's sending a letter to my parents? What do we do? But here's some of the top 5 factors. The top 5 factors I would look at in making that determination whether to respond with a letter or a phone call, or try to find a way to negotiate a settlement by responding, or ignore, which is basically, sorry Charlie, it's a game of chicken and I'm not playing and I'm not a chicken. So here are some of the factors. 1. Now I have this here, first of all, so you can see it. This is the scale of justice, okay? This is the scale. And you weigh things out. What we do in law a lot of times is we're weighing things out, pros versus cons. Which side is the scale going to tip in favor of? Is it going to tip in favor of ignoring? Is it going to tip in favor of responding? So the first factor I look at is the value to the copyright holder. Now what do I mean by that? So obviously certain things are more valuable to the copyright holder. The copyright holder being the person that has the United States copyright registration. They took the steps to go and register it with the Copyright Office, okay? So like if you have like a Mickey Mouse logo, Disney would have taken the time and paid the money. It's not much, but paid the money to go and register the copyright with the United States Copyright Office. Why? It's a valuable intellectual property assets for Disney. It's very valuable. So they register it. They get a registration number. The same thing happens with software. You have Microsoft Office software or Autodesk software. They are going to go register their copyrights in their software products. So games, video games, same things. Comic strips. So people that put a lot of time and money into something, they're going to have some value. They're going to register their copyright, and they're going to want to enforce it and make sure that they are the sole owner of those exclusive copyrights, what we call those exclusive bundle of copyright laws. So, I mean, the rights to the holder. So if it's really valuable, you can weigh it over here a little bit more, because they may be more likely to continue to pursue you. Now also, if it's like an adult video, there's a lot of these, what we call these BitTorrent cases, where you download an adult video that's also copyrighted. Okay, somebody put together this video and copyrighted it, and so they have the registration number. So that may be of value to them. So we see a lot of cases in this area, what we refer to as copyright bully cases. But again, if it's something the copyright holder actually took the time to go register, keeping in mind that you never have to register your copyrights, there are some benefits to copyright protection. One of them is it's what you need to file a lawsuit. So by virtue of the fact that somebody would have taken the time to register, could indicate to you that they may be poised to want to file a copyright lawsuit. So now on the other hand, if it was like a photograph and some photographer takes pictures of bridges and trees all over the world and posts 1,000 photos online and never really goes to the formal step of copywriting it, or it's just some image that's, you know, a picture of a folder that they put up online, and it's a folder. It's a picture of a folder, big deal. This may lean more towards ignoring, because they may not be so inclined to want to come try to sue you for one little picture that they never registered, and that, you know, they've got thousands of these. So that's factor 1, is looking at the value to the copyright holder. That's one way that we look at this. Number 2, your use. We look at your use. Is your use of the copyrighted image, photo, book, movie, song, lyric, comic, whatever you want, whatever we're dealing with, a video, adult video, whatever, is your use, commercial or non-commercial. Okay, if you're violating the rights of the copyright holder, are you doing it in a commercial aspect? You're trying to make money? Commercial equal money? Or non-commercial, you're just posting it on your website for fun, or you're sharing it with a friend just to goof around. So commercial, if you're making a commercial use, again, somebody may want to come get your profits. They may say, well, what are you making? I would like to make some of that money, some of that cabbage, as we call it, right? So commercial use may lead toward responding. Again, we're just weighing, okay? If it's a non-commercial use, just something you slapped it up on a t-shirt and you're wearing somebody's picture on your t-shirt, it's just for fun around the house, you know, may lean over here toward just ignore the letter, Now, I'm not telling you which way to do it. This is not legal advice. This is not substitute for legal advice. If you're not sure, pick up the phone, call Attorney Steve. You can find me over here at copyrightbully.com, copyrightbully.com. That's factor 2. Factor 3, very important, the history of filing suits. Does the copyright holder have a history of filing lawsuits? Yes or no? There's one easy way to figure this out, and I posted a video on this if you want to watch me walk you through it so you can do it for yourself. Google Vondren Pacer. Vondren Pacer. Now, pacer.gov, not .com, don't do the .com, it's going to take you to something totally different. Pacer.gov maintains a federal database of all the federal lawsuits filed, bankruptcy petition, anything that's federal. So you can go in, and because copyright cases are filed in federal courts, you can go in and you can look up the attorney that sent you the letter, look them up by last name first, and if you watch my video, I'll show you how to do it. You can look up the attorney and see if this particular attorney who sent you the letter is filing these lawsuits, or are they not. Okay, so it could be a big bluff. Okay, it could be sending out hundreds and hundreds of these form boilerplate letters, okay? So you can look up the attorney, you can also look up the company. So say you're dealing with Microsoft or Autodesk, you can look them up and see, are they filing lawsuits? And so I walk you through that. It's on another video. I'm not going to go into detail here, but if you want information, it's Vondren, how to look up a copyright on Pacer, okay? How to go through Pacer. Very important video if you're in this situation. You want to know who your plaintiff is, or who your who the aggressor is, who's coming after you. You must know thy enemy. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, know thy enemy. Next one. So if there's a history of filing suit, it may weigh you towards wanting to respond. If there's no history of filing suit, they may have never filed one. They may not want to file one. So this may lead toward, maybe I can just ignore it, okay? The amount of infringement is also very important. Was it 1 video, 2 video, 10 videos, 20 videos, 500 videos? So that the amount is also important. That would go to the value to the holder, okay? The embarrassment factor. Now, in these adult video cases, these are very, very highly embarrassing. And so you're taking a big risk by not responding. If they file a lawsuit, this becomes a public record. This ends up in the Pacer system, as I'm talking about. You can find it on Google searches. So this may hurt you if you're trying to get a job, or you're trying to get into the financial securities industry or a regulated industry, an employer who's doing a background search on the internet. So you have to really be careful on this one, because if you ignore it, if you decide to ignore it on this side and they file suit, now you got a cleanup problem. You got to go and clean it up. So this can be a really big factor if you're really worried. You may just want to respond and negotiate a settlement, work something out, get a deal done. So that's another important factor. So those are the first 4 factors. The final factor, I'm not going to say this is the only 5 factors I look at. There are other things depending case by case, but you always have to look at the assets of the potential defendant, you, the infringer, the person who may have illegally downloaded something, the alleged infringer, right? So you want to look at your assets. If you have a lot of assets, and we've had these cases where the person that's being accused has a house, $250,000 equity, a good attorney on the other side, at least I know I would find it, is we're going to find your assets. We're going to know what you have. And if you decide to ignore, this attorney may be motivated to come sue you because you have assets. They may say, this guy's going to really hit the floor when I file the lawsuit, and he's got all these assets in his name or her name. So your assets is a big deal. If you don't have any assets, you're judgment proof. You say, well, you get a judgment and it's worth nothing. I don't have a penny. I never will. I'm checked out of society. I really don't care. Well, that may lead toward ignore. That may lead toward a decision to ignore the cease and desist letter or the legal demand letter. Okay? So you want to be thinking about that. Bankruptcy always is something that people think about, they talk about. So you may say, well, maybe I can just discharge any judgment in bankruptcy. That may be true, but there may be cases where you have willful, extremely willful and blatant commercial, let's just say commercial use of another person's copyright. You may not be able to discharge that in a bankruptcy. So we have an article on that. If you want to find out more information, head to copyrightbully.com. If you're facing a situation where you're trying to make that ultra tough decision to ignore the demand letter or respond to the demand letter, give us a call. We're here to help. We've helped a lot of clients in a lot of different types of cases dealing with copyrights. Okay? Attorney Steve Vonner, we appreciate it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the show, make sure you click on that V, that red V for victory, and make sure you subscribe to our legal channel. As we like to say, be smarter than your friend.